It's intro time, and I hate doing them, but hey, someone's got to do it. I got to somehow put some energy in it. You know me. It's been a minute, everybody. After last week being off due to travel and packing, Post to Post is back. It's me, and I've got people with me for once, so I don't have to talk into empty space. Hey. It's always a pleasure when that happens. We've got a fairly regular stalwart. Corey's returned. Instead of Corey and Corey, I'm no longer between two Corys. I've just got Corey. And then a new one who I've been trying to get on here for a while. My buddy recently got back into wrestling. Adam, welcome, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Doing all right, aside from recovering from COVID. Outside of that, can't complain.
And also doing all right, currently fighting COVID.
It's crazy because the lady, she had it not too long ago, and every day throughout that whole week or two that she had it, I tested every morning and every afternoon negative, and she's like, "How in the fuck do you not have this?" I do. We didn't even try to do any spacing or anything like that in the house. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I mean,
I bet she was loving that. Well, probably feeling miserable and watching your happy ass run around the house doing whatever. Just...
she got one of the mild ones where it was just like sniffles and a sore throat. That's all it was. Beyond that, gentlemen, it's been a fine weekend for AEW and a fine week. The follow-up, we had Forbidden Door on Sunday, and then we had Blood and Guts. Today, by the time everyone listens to this, it'll be tomorrow or yesterday for the event. But we'll go ahead and talk about things. So, first, let's dive into Forbidden Door. Overall thoughts?
It was amazing. So I've been now in it for I came back around the time CM Punk came into AEW. That's when I got back into wrestling. Just right before he'd been announced, I'm like, I better pay attention. This, I think, is one of the better pay-per-views since then. I've watched every one since then, and I really enjoy it. And I keep in mind that, we've talked about this before, Will, but I don't currently watch New Japan Pro Wrestling. It's something on my list of things to do. So I didn't know a lot of the backgrounds or a lot of these guys. But the wrestling was amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing about New Japan is, if you watch any New Japan stuff, the wrestling there is on point. They do some comedy matches, but they don't, overload you with comedy matches. You've got a few guys, but even when they do the comedy, they're still wrestling their fucking asses off, with the exception of maybe Yano. And it's part of me wants to say, Falcon, put in a John clip, but at the same time, it's been so long, I want John to come back and do it himself. So it's one of those situations where I want to hear fuck Yano from the man himself, not from the camera. But yeah, I agree. Everyone they brought over to perform, I was surprised at some of the ones they brought over, because usually when there's anyone New Japan brought over to even work New Japan strong, weren't some of their bigger draws in Japan proper. They'd usually bring over their mid-carders. Every now and then Tanahashi would come over and do his thing. He's been over the most of anybody. But even on New Japan Strong, it was mostly mid-carders or people that work for New Japan that live stateside, like Kenta, the GOD, people like that. But to see them bring in Shingo and Yoshihashi and Hiroki Goto, I was really surprised. Really surprised. Corey?
Yeah, I'd mirror that. I've been watching AEW and the pay-per-views a little bit longer. But I would agree. This is definitely one of the stronger ones in a while. Part of it, kind of going into it, I don't watch New Japan on a regular basis, but I do have at least a little bit of familiarity, and it's kind of the same thing. You're going to get good matches, and because I haven't, they didn't really build storylines into this either, because they know a lot of the American fans don't know who any of these people are, and they can't really get them invested long term enough to like build up to this pay-per-view, to have like storyline payoff. So I kind of knew like, okay, you're just gonna have good matches. I wasn't super invested in a lot of the outcomes. Now, a few of them, sure, but it wouldn't be like a normal AEW where I have like really strong preferences for who I want to see, come out on top of each match. This was just like, I don't give a shit. It's going to be a bunch of great matches, and it's going to be a fun, 4 hours, and that's exactly what it was.
Little risk and a lot of reward.
Absolutely.
The one thing about this, any of the story arcs were all pretty surface level. It's like anyone that knew any sort of backstory would get it pretty quickly. Like Tanahashi and Moxley going up against one another is a holdover from last year, or possibly the year before, when they were doing all those matches against one another, and Lance Archer dancing back and forth with the U.S. belt.
Mm-hmm.
That's all brought back full circle for that one. The Bullet Club stuff, we all know where the Bucks came from originally. All the internet drama between Bullet Club and the Elite, and then to see them come back one night only as Bullet Club members, because the gap between them and Bullet Club was mended when the Good Brothers were brought back in and they kicked out the GOD. So, hey, it worked out pretty nicely.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's all surface level connections, but it was enough to where the diehards were like, yes, the payoff, and then the more casual viewers are like, this is pretty cool. I may need to go check this out. It's a nice thing for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, Adam, if you ever need to, let me know. I can get you a New Japan hookup pretty easy. But also, if you happen to have Access TV, you can do it there.
I don't know what Access TV is, but I'm going to have to look into that.
Yeah, Access is Mark Cuban's TV service, I believe it is. And they have a contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling to show their events and everything. Sometimes there's a slight delay. If you want it directly, $10, well, it's actually less than $10 a month with the exchange rate. It's 999 yen for a month for New Japan World. And so right now, it's less than, it's like, maybe it translates to like $9.25 or $9.50, I think, last time I looked at the exchange rate. So cheap.
You can figure it's always going to be between like $9 and $11.
Yeah,
unless something absolutely crazy happens,
Yeah. I mean, you'll be safe just saying it's a 1-to-1. A penny is, again, done, and you'll be a happy camper. But yeah, they have everything, and you can go all the way back to watching Owen Hart's matches in New Japan back in the early 90s. You can watch some of the 90s WWF and WCW stars, Vader, Hogan's old matches. You can see Terry Funk do his thing. You can watch Hayabusa's first ever match against Jushin Thunder Liger in one of the early Best of Super Juniors. A lot of great Muda. It's good stuff. It sounds like I fucking plugged the shit out of it, but I'm more or less telling you that everyone listening to us. Anyone from New Japan that wants to give me a sponsorship, do it, even though I've got like 5 people that listen on the regular still, please do.
I was about to say, just tell them to comp your subscription.
Yeah, that's all I need. I don't need money. Just comp it, and I will say good things about you forever, because you have not let me down in the, I think, 5 years that I've since you started that, and I've had the account.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get on that once I've got when they were running one of their sales, I was able to acquire all the past AEW pay-per-views on DVD.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So I need to get through those first.
There's some good ones.
There are some gems. There are some gems.
I don't want to get too far off into historical since we got a whole pay-per-view to cover here, but the Stadium Stampede is still probably one of my favorite pay-per-view events that AEW has done. It's real silly, but oh man, it's great. Whenever you get to that one, it's a treat.
One of my favorites was the very first Fight for the Fallen. it was either that or the first Double or Nothing. I forget which. I get them mixed together because both of them fell kind of near summertime that first year. But it's like the most. It hurts you to watch it because of the spots they do. Moxley versus Joey Janela, and he takes Joey's boots off and slams him into the thumbtacks.
Oof.
So, and you see Joey pulling thumbtacks out of his feet during the match. I'm just like, oh. But it was a good match. And that's also the same event where Sean Spears split Cody's forehead open with a chair. And that's how he got his nickname, the Chairman.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know how he got that nickname.
Uh-huh. He fucking, like, apparently, like, the spot was done slightly wrong, or he didn't get the gimmick chair and he got a real one by accident, some way, somehow, and it was just a straight up boom, and it split Cody's scalp. Cody had stitches and everything, but blood just gushing. Split him good. But yeah, those older ones are great. I'm still partial to pre-AEW's All In as the like proto AEW pay-per-view. They still kind of loosely claim it, but now that they bought ROH, I can definitely say that it is an AEW pay-per-view now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. Anyway, after that nice little romp down memory lane, which is definitely worth it, it gets you hyped. All right, so let's start with the buy-in for Forbidden Door. So who run us through the matches from the buy-in, Corey?
Okie dokie. So number one, first off, and I should mention that this is a pretty stacked buy-in and not just the single match sort of deal they've been doing lately. First, we had a factory match. It was Aaron Solo and QT Marshall with Hiroki Goto and Yoshihashi. After that, Nick Comoroto and Lance Archer, singles match. Third buy-in match was another tag team. That's the one I was thinking was Swerve in Our Glory. We've got Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee against Yoshinobu Kanemaru and El Desperado. And the final was it was supposed to be a larger team match, but we can get into the specifics of why it ended up being a handicap, was Max Caster and supposed to be the Gun Club with Yuya Uemura, Alex Coughlin, the DKC, and Kevin Knight. And that's basically the LA Dojo, all of the Young Lions stateside for New Japan.
Yep. I kind of want to just start referring to the Gun Club and the Acclaimed, if they don't split up after tonight's stuff, as the Ass Claimed.
I like it.
That's pretty good.
I like it.
Because that's what I wrote down, so I didn't have to write all that shit. So
It's only a matter of time.
The Ass Claimed, yeah. But let's just say this. First one, there was some lag time with the buy-in because the internet was acting funky for a hot minute, but I didn't miss much of the match. I think I only missed the intros in the first maybe 2 or 3 minutes of this one. But I knew for a fact going in that Yoshihashi and Goto were going to do work. And I got to see Goto pull his famous Ushigoroshi. So I'm perfectly okay with that. That being the one where it looks like he's going to do a vertical suplex and instead he drops the back of their head on his knee. And then just Yoshihashi is someone that's like, when I first saw him wrestle and like the way he was booked, I was just like, this guy's so weird. I mean, he came out like legit, like he came out with the bow, like the staff, and all I could think of was Goku and Sun Wukong and all those references, because that's kind of what they played at the whole time, because it was red, it had the 2 golden ends on it back then, and he came out with that all the time. And this was way back when they were making him do like the New Japan Rumble and stuff, so he was like a low Carter, but dude fucking works his ass off every time, and he has just grown on me a lot. He's hella good.
You know, I was probably least invested in this one. I actually got a little bit of a late start as well. I missed the intros and probably the first, I don't know, say 2 to 3 minutes of this match while I was getting everything all configured and whatnot. I mean, it's a good warm-up, you know. I'm not I'm a little biased. I'm just not a big fan of any of the factory members, really. But it was fine. It was fine. No complaints. It was a good warm-up match.
Mm-hmm. I mean, all things considered, like, QT, love him or hate him, dude can sell like nobody's business. He is a good worker, and Aaron Solo is not half bad himself. It's just, I feel like the main problem is the factory gimmicks kind of run its course.
Mm-hmm.
With Cody gone, like, the whole reason the factory came into being was because of the feud between QT and Cody and the Nightmare Factory breaking up into the Nightmare family and the factory. Now it's just, it's not even like making sense as a developmental thing for newcomers. Now it's just this weird crew that hangs out with QT, and it doesn't make a lot of sense to me anymore. It needs to kind of phase itself out and everyone get a push separate.
So we were coming back from the con on Sunday, so I think I missed the first two matches, and this is one of the ones I missed. Although I will say, not a fan of QT Marshall, so I'm not sad that I missed this match.
The only thing I would say to be sad about is you missed seeing them get worked over by just a solid New Japan team representing the Chaos faction. So Chaos being Okada, those two guys, all the best friends are members of Chaos now. Rocky Romero's in Chaos. They're a huge faction in New Japan. They were started, surprisingly enough, if you know a little WWE, Chaos faction was started by Shinsuke Nakamura when he was in New Japan. He started Chaos.
Yeah, going back to our earlier Wardlow conversation, I think I would also pay Wardlow to, slam QT Marshall in the mat multiple times.
I would say for maybe $5,000-$6,000, you could get both of them, and just be like, "All right, Wardlow, just slam him till I tell you to stop."
That would be thoroughly enjoyable.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for an opener, it was just a good affair. QT knows how to work. Aaron Solo knows how to work. It was a good matched up team. You had the more lightweight fellows in regard to Aaron Solo and Yoshihashi, even though Yoshihashi's slightly bigger than Solo. And then you had Goto and QT, who matched up size-wise really well. It was just a good balanced outing. And the styles weren't too dissimilar, but I'm glad they gave the win to Goto and Yoshihashi. It automatically just set things off for kind of a good precedent. New Japan gets the first win of the card, or of the whole day's worth of events, even though it's a mile match. It was still good stuff. So following that, we had what I will go ahead and say was the worst match on the buy-in card, but not a terrible match, all things considered. It's just, it was hamstrung by the fact that all the other matches are so much better.
Well, and this one's strange, too, because, I mean, Lance Archer put in a lot of work with New Japan, so, I get it that he's sort of the representative from that, but I think this was the only buy-in that didn't have a true, kind of what I would say an exclusive New Japan entrant. You know what I mean? It's Nick Comoroto and Lance Archer. You could see a match between the two of them literally on any episode that AEW airs. Yep. This isn't a special match. There's nothing special to it.
No, it's just Lance Archer gets to represent Suzuki-gun, which was the faction he was with in New Japan before he came and started working with AEW. And he's still a member. So whenever he works New Japan, he works with that stable. But yeah, it's one of those things where I felt the same way, but at least all Archer's spots looked good. Mm-hmm. His moonsault didn't look terrible this time. It's just one of those times where he was actually doing it against a dude big enough to make it look like he wasn't going to just straight up crush him. And
go ahead.
Seeing Comoroto gorilla press Archer was impressive.
Yep. See, that's what I was gonna say too. I feel like AEW doesn't have too many big man matches where you've got two giant guys going up against each other. I mean, I know their roster in general tends to be smaller, but they have no problem pairing up people of different sizes. So it is kind of fun just to see, just two big monstrous guys just go at it. So I mean, that aspect of it was entertaining, if nothing else.
Mm-hmm. It was good. I mean, I knew it wasn't going to be a long match as soon as I saw who was in it because, one, Archer will try and crush anybody real quick, and then Camarado seems to get gassed real fast.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, Adam, have you seen many Camarado matches?
I have not.
As a whole?
I'm going to have to. That is actually, I'm listing a few things I need to look back on. And that's one of the things I need to look back on after this is check him out.
He's not bad. He just doesn't get much, playtime as opposed to being just a jobber at times for whoever they want to put the factory up against to make someone else look good. Camarado could look good on his own. Now, he beat the dog shit out of some dude from New Japan at one of the dark matches before Capital Collision back in May. He beat the shit out of that guy. But it was, one of the rare times where they give Camarado a win. Now, Camarado, I wish they would let him, get him hyped enough to where he could be a damn near a reincarnation of Bruiser Brody.
He looks just like him.
He does.
I've said the same thing. That's kind of why I like watching him, because he's like a throwback to the old school big man.
Yeah, just this hairy behemoth that they just need to let him run wild. Just let him be a wild man.
Yep.
Now, did they have Wardlow beat him up at one point? I feel like he was on Wardlow's warpath, no pun intended. I feel like he was one of the ones.
I think he was, and I think he's one of the only ones that only got one powerbomb.
Probably because of his size. Even though he powerbombs some big people, I mean, it's a whole nother level with him.
Yeah, I mean, he hoisted Camarado up pretty quick. Camarado was able to get a couple licks in at the beginning. It wasn't like a pure blown, 2-second squash, but it wasn't a long match at all. But, I mean, like I said, I think when I did my own little best out of 10 scoring for this entire pay-per-view on the Facebook page, I think I gave this one a 4.5. Because it just... Like you said, Corey, if it was something you could see on the regular, it wasn't a bad match. But when you compare it to all of the others, there was nothing to really set it apart from anything.
Exactly.
Now, the next one, I'm going to go ahead and tell you two up front. One, if you want to see some good-ass junior heavyweight tag team stuff in New Japan, watch Kanemaru and Desperado. They are the Suzuki-gun light heavyweights. And they are stupid good. I mean, it was a size mismatch of epic proportions in that.
Absolutely, yeah.
But they can just fucking go. And El Desperado, I really wish he had a singles match, because he is so good. So good. It's like, I want to get some of his merch, but you have to buy it through New Japan, and their shit is so expensive. So expensive.
Is it brought to you by Fanatics?
No. No, but we're talking base 30 to 40 a t-shirt.
And see, that's why I ask about Fanatics, because I always want, not to go outside of wrestling, but it seems like if you want anything that's kind of outside of the US, for instance F1, their t-shirts are $40, $45. And I'm like, it's a t-shirt. Come on.
Yeah, it's like Corey can tell you, last summer I wanted the New Japan and Godzilla crossover shirt. Only sold through New Japan in Japan. the downside with New Japan Store in Japan, if you're buying it from out of the country, you have to go through one of the intermediary companies that set you up a proxy address in Japan that they can ship it to, and then you have to pay the shipping to go there, and then you have to pay the shipping through that company, plus a little fee to ship it to you stateside.
Which I will say I've done before, and it's, you know, obviously it's extra. You're not going to be getting stuff for retail, but it's not egregious. They don't like gouge you on it. It's actually, in my opinion, pretty reasonable, especially if it's something that you truly cannot, you know, acquire.
It's like I need to see if they still have it on their website, because I need to break down and do it. It's just like every time I think about it, it's around one of those times. Like Adam knows right now when all the pre-orders drop at one time. So I'm cursed with the pre-order woes right now. It's not like I'm broke, but it's just like everything's popping. So I'm like, well, I'm not buying anything right now.
Yeah, it's every day. Oh, thank you for your payment of this pre-order. It has arrived. Thanks.
For me, it was $200 fucking yesterday worth of pre-order. Hit it one time. I was just like, God damn it. But I mean, it's not like I didn't factor in it happening. It's just, it's all the fucking delays from the past 2 years are all coming due at the same fucking time. I'm like, come on, people.
Yeah, it's like the planning to space it out doesn't matter anymore when they all get delayed till the exact same day, and then surprise.
But you know, back to it, because I digress with merch talk. Even because of the size disparity, it's fun watching people that do smart tag team wrestling. And Kanemaru and Desperado working Keith Lee's legs the entire match.
Yep.
Oh, super smart.
Good old school wrestling storytelling. So good.
I gotta say, I don't watch WWE. I haven't watched since CM Punk left. I'm really seeing Swerve and Keith Lee, like seeing them in AEW. Like, I can't fathom how they let them go. Like, I really enjoy those two, and I know they're kind of doing this whole little storyline where they're rifting because they turn their backs on each other during that Casino Royale.
Yeah,
I hope they stay together. I enjoy them together, and I think they're, as they've wrestled more, and I think we saw it in this match, like, they're getting better at working together.
Yeah, they gelled really well, like up front, and this storytelling they've got going on with them is just showing even more. And Corey, your thoughts on the whole thing?
This is another one where I don't necessarily have a lot of attachment to the New Japan side of things, but I did enjoy getting to watch what they had to show, and I'm glad that at least this was another opportunity for the Swerve and Our Glory team to maybe actually stick together a little bit. Adam, I'm right there with you. Actually, I've really been enjoying watching the two of them together, and especially sort of the goofy character building where they've really leaned into, Keith Lee being the intellectual giant of the team, and Swerve just kind of being this goofball tagging along with them. It's great. It's fun to watch them, and I know it's not going to last forever because they've already planted that seed. But yeah, the more matches they get together, I think the better it's going to be for everybody. But it's always fun to watch Keith Lee, regardless of who he's with.
Yeah, one thing that surprises me is in WWE, it's like they didn't like the fact that Keith Lee was so well spoken. It goes against what Vince thinks of with like big dudes. He wants them to be, bruisers that aren't, so intellectual.
But that's like a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? It's so fun to see Keith Lee's character that way. I love it. Yeah.
And I'm glad he's back to Limitless Keith Lee, because nothing was worse than when he went to the main roster for that short period of time before he got released, and he was Bearcat Keith Lee. Keith Bearcat Lee. It was so bad.
I'm glad I missed that.
Yeah. Plus, Vince wouldn't let him wrestle without a shirt on, because Vince doesn't like fat guys. That's pretty much the short and long of it. Vince doesn't like fat guys. So if you're plump, you're going to have a shirt on.
Stupid.
Yeah, he's a weird dude. He likes to jack the guys that look like they were models and bodybuilders. So if you don't fit that mold, then you wear in the shirt. But yeah, I mean, I will tell you this: it's rare that it is successful, but seeing a successful Suntory surprise made me happy. I've only seen it a handful of times watching New Japan where they actually pull it off, and I thought they were going to get the win when I saw it happen. But Kanemaru and his swig of whiskey and blowing it in the face, I was like, oh.
I don't know how I felt about that whole whiskey thing, and it might just be because I hate Malachi Black and his little gimmick with that, but I was just like, eh.
Fair enough. I know, like, for me, I like Malachi Black using the mist because it's callbacks to the Great Muda. And Kabuki. Some of the older dudes from way, way back. And then in New Japan, Tajiri from WWE and New Japan, and I believe he wrestled for some of the other Japanese factions. He's known for the Green Mist. Bushi, who is a member of LIJ in New Japan, he's known for the Mist as well. It's just one of those classic callbacks. And, you know, it works for me. And then Kanemaru just, I guess the whiskey thing, he's had that gimmick for so long, it doesn't bother me too much. But I'm glad to see it successful every once in a while, because normally it's like, as soon as someone always catches him as soon as he starts to hit the bottle, and they stop it. It's rare that he ever pulls it off. Mm. And so it makes me happy when he does. And I'm a sucker for any time that El Desperado does Numero Dos, or the stretch muffler. He's so good at it. It just makes it look like it's fucking painful. Where he wrenches their leg back behind his head and just wrenches and fucking cranks at it. It just looks so mean. But yeah, that match, it made me happy. I mean, I knew once I kind of had the feeling that they weren't going to win when I saw the mismatch. That was a telegraphed moment. And then also I knew Desperado wasn't going to take the pin because he's the hot guy in New Japan for, like, in the one of the hot guys in the junior heavyweight division. So I knew Kanemaru was going to take the L on that one. And he did. Got squashed. Super, super good match. So the last one, the one where we knew exactly how it was going to turn out before it happened, because New Japan rules, Young Lions never win. They always lose.
Which, and that, you know, this is one where I think, like, they probably, it's fine for the American audience if they don't know. You know, it just looks like a regular matchup. Like, oh, it could be anybody's game. But yeah, this is one of the things I do know about New Japan. When I saw them all in the uniforms, I'm like, oh God, like this. It's like this is gonna be so one-sided, which is maybe why it ended up being a handicap to begin with. But yeah, you knew going into it that there was absolutely no way that essentially a team full of rookies is gonna take on, you know, an established AEW group.
Yeah, I believe it was three rookies and one who had recently graduated the dojo, and he was on excursion.
Yep, exactly.
So,
Alex Coughlin, I think, was the one that had
graduated. Yeah, that's why he was dressed slightly differently.
In which I do appreciate that they did explain it, like, towards the end of the match. One of the announcers kind of did a quick catch-up for anybody who didn't know about the black trunks and having to kind of earn your uniform and whatnot.
I think Excalibur would have, because he's the Encyclopedia Britannica of fucking AEW and wrestling in general. Mm-hmm. But it could have also been Kevin Kelly. But I will say this. This was, beyond a shadow of doubt, the best commentary of any pay-per-view they have put on. Like, it was tight the whole time. The only couple little hiccups came about when they brought out JR.
Which makes me sad, because I'm always a fan of having JR out there, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't slip up bad, but he's just, he's not as quick as he used to be, but he's still, he's a damn legend, and he still does a good job. But, all things considered, some of the best commentary all night, and I wish Kevin Kelly was there more often because he's so good.
I feel like I need to start off my opinion of this match going, yo, listen.
Yes, please.
So I have been absolutely loving the Acclaimed and the Gun Club's gimmicks. I annoyed the crap out of my friends at con this last weekend because I'd constantly go, yo, listen, or I was going, scissor me, daddy ass, and holding my fingers out. But, it was a good match. But, yeah, I'm really enjoying this team up. It's just been... And it's funny because they do the same thing over and over again, like the Gun Club calls out the wrong city, and it's about to happen, but it's still funny. Like, it hasn't gotten old to me yet.
No, it really hasn't. It's just one of those comedy things that just found that nice flow where everyone gets it, and it started to go over. Like, at first, like, Max Caster's raps were so fucking terrible. Like, every time the Acclaim come out, I was like, oh my god, shut the fuck up. And then all of a sudden something clicked, and they started to get good. I think he stopped trying to be so serious and started going at it for the laughs, and that's when it became good.
Well, he got reprimanded at one point.
Well, that was the one from last summer when he talked about Julia Hart in a slightly sexual manner.
Yeah, I was to say he got a little slap on the wrist for that one, and I think he's probably gotten back to where he's doing his own material. But I know there was a short bit there where I think Tony actually did like one of the rare occasions where he had to kind of give the okay for a little while, and I think that was a little bit of an attitude adjustment
from that. Yeah,
and I agree with you because they used to be fucking awful. Like, I hated them, but they've really grown on me over the last, say, like 8 months or so.
Yeah, the Acclaimed have gotten so good lately. And honestly, all that controversy from that rap last summer, and seeing it live, I heard it, I was like, did he just fucking say that? And then seeing all the news things after that, I was like, damn. And like him going onto eBay and trying to sell his gear because he thought he was getting fired. But yeah, I think that also put him super over with the crowd because it gave him an edge, and now they're just like, what's he gonna say next? Because he'll say some fucked up shit, but he toes that line from really crossing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what he said, but he added like that whole Amber Heard Johnny Depp thing in one of the raps, and I was like, did he just do that? Did he seriously just do that? And I was like, I was laughing my ass off.
Oh man, it's good stuff. But I mean, the main thing with this match that I thought was just kind of awkward, and it's the only thing that I kind of dinged it for, was the match had barely gotten started, or hadn't even gotten started yet, and then Danhausen comes up on the big screen and pretty much just starts talking trash to the Gun Club, the Ass Boys. And they get pissed, and they leave the fucking match. They run into the back. I'm just like, what in the absolute fuck just happened?
Yeah, the other disappointing thing was, like, through that entire match, I was expecting, like, Danhausen to, like, come out from underneath the ring or something and do a curse or something. So disappointed. We don't even get to see him. Like, we got the pre-recorded, like, or maybe it wasn't pre-recorded, but we got, like, the thing on the big screen, and that was it. And then he played his music. Ass Boys went out. We didn't get to even see him do anything at all.
Yeah, it was odd choice.
It was real weird, but Max Caster and Billy Gunn are a force to be reckoned with. And the fact that Billy Gunn loves the Acclaim more than his own sons right now in story is fucking great. I mean, all things considered, I mean, we knew that the Acclaim was going to go over the LA Dojo. There's not really much to go talk about there beyond just saying how enjoyable the whole buy-in was. I mean, only one truly weak match, and that's only because it's a match you could have seen any time. The rest of them pretty solid. And then the last one finished up with an awkward gimmick to make it a handicap match, but it wasn't terrible. And Billy hitting the Fameasser to get the win. The Fameasser followed by the mic drop. It was a double whammy.
Yep. It's always fun to see Billy actually in the ring. It always blows my mind just how huge he is compared to like everybody else most of the time.
He is stupid jacked. I remember when he wasn't that big, back when he was part of the Smoking Guns in WWF back in the mid-90s, him and Bart Gunn. But then, like, he started getting big when DX kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Road Dogg, he got big. But, yeah, he's fucking jacked. And for being 50-something, he's a fucking monster that can still move.
Yeah, I cannot believe how big he is yet at his age.
It's nuts. I mean, and he doesn't have any of those weird blown out muscles like Jericho's blown out pecs.
Yeah,
that's just ugh. Come on, Jericho, it's time to go to mentoring and commentating.
Jericho can still go. He can still go. It's just like it's awkward when they've done some sort of exercise so much it's blown out one of their muscle groups, and you can tell. Because he's not in terrible shape. It's just it's
noticeable.
It's noticeable. It's visually distracting, and so it's like every time I see him, I just see that, I'm just like, dang.
He's got to start wearing.
And then a song comes on, and you want to
kick
a dog.
God, I hate that song. I still I'll tell the funny story every time. It's back in January, went to Rampage in DC, and a song started playing, and I just yelled out, "This song fucking sucks!" And some dude in front of me was like, "You fucking suck!" I was like, "You wish." And then he didn't say a fucking word the rest of the night.
You know what? I wish the camera would have panned on you, because for some reason I can just picture you in the crowd with your arms crossed as his song's playing while everyone else in the stadium is sitting there singing along.
Oh, I usually do. He knows me all too well, Corey.
Yep.
I'll just be shake my head and mutter to myself about how much I hate this fucking song. Or occasionally I'll just sing it. I'll start singing my own parody lyrics about how bad the song sucks to its own tune.
Not to go down a complete rabbit hole, but you know that he goes around and plays with his band that did that song. They recently came to Green Bay by me, and it popped up in my Facebook feed.
He tours really regularly. I'll probably never go see them because I don't like them. I never have. It's just not my bag. And then this song, to say it again, I'm sure I mentioned it on the show a million times. Back in, I believe it was 2015 or 16. It may possibly rolling into 17. Whenever he first debuted that album, he played that song every fucking episode of his podcast at the beginning. He does 2 episodes a week. The beginning of every episode for what felt like 6 fucking months. So I had to listen to that song twice a week for months and months. And I hate it. I hate it so much. And it's still going.
Yeah, well, they considered stopping with the whole Appreciation Society thing, and he was like, no, the fans just love it too much.
At least now he'll play the heel thing. We're no, you don't get to sing.
Yeah.
And then they still sing it. I'm like, God. But anyway, so first match of the main card. Let's do it to it.
Yeah, speaking of, actually. Let's see, yeah, because the first match was Jericho Guevara and Minoru. Yeah, can't talk today. Minoru Suzuki against Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Shota Umino.
Oh, shooter.
Yep.
Man, I loved it a few years ago when Mox first left WWE and went working with New Japan. About the same time he signed with AEW, because he was running his Death Rider gimmick. He had his leather jacket. And Umino took to him. Like, he would come out to the ring with Moxley in a leather jacket, dressed the same way, and do what Moxley did. He was like Little Mox.
Well, that's why he came out with the 2 leather jackets, right? For his entrance. He had the one that was the shooter on it.
Yep.
Yep, but he was carrying the other one. So, yeah, he was all leathered out.
Yeah, it's just... I like Shota Umino. Like, he sold me because he worked his ass off trying to impress, like, I guess his idol was the story arc, because this was during the G1, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I was like, this is great. And then to bring him in, working with Mox's friend Kingston, and then Wheeler Yuta, who has just been on a fucking air. I'm all for Wheeler Yuta. But it's Suzuki. God damn it, that man is a legend. Storm Collectibles is releasing a fucking Minoru Suzuki figure.
Are they really?
I might need to get that.
They announced it during the pay-per-view. It's the only Storm Collectibles figure I want. I mean, I part of me wanted like one of the Ligers, but with those Liger figures, they are so much fucking bigger than every other wrestling figure. I'm just like, oh my god, I couldn't bring myself to buy one. Even though I love Jushin Liger. Could do it. But the Suzuki one, I'll be hard pressed not to. But, I mean, gentlemen, the overall thoughts on this match. Did it play out by the numbers as you expected, or were there a few, nice little surprises?
I think it went pretty much as expected. I feel like a lot. I mean, because this is not the first time that Suzuki's been on AEW. They had a little stretch last year where he was on a couple weeks in a row. It felt like, and he's always fun, but his matches all feel a little samey to me, which is fine. That's not a problem. But it just felt like another Suzuki match. But I think I missed. I want to say that he had a matchup with Kingston before when he was doing that, and they had quite a slap off that was shown on circling on Twitter, and I'd missed the episode, so it was fun to actually get to watch it, take place in front of me this time, because they had a good old chop off in the middle of this one. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now the ultimate chop battle was Suzuki and Samoa Joe for the TV title.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of, not Kingston. Yep.
I know Kingston and Suzuki have done it, and they've gone super strong style, but the ultimate Japanese strong style match was Suzuki and Samoa Joe. But, yeah, I mean, I know exactly where you're coming from, where it comes, like, with Suzuki, and most of his matches seeming really samey.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends, honestly, how they're going to book it. Like, if you go and watch some of Suzuki's matches where he's doing a tag match with Zack Sabre Jr., because Zack's in his faction, Suzuki-gun, those two will fucking dismantle somebody. Like, with every joint lock and manipulation thing you can think of, they will ruin another tag team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's nuts. Those two are fucking monsters if they're working together. Which I'm surprised they didn't try to do a DSJ and Suzuki versus another set tag match tonight. That would have been fucking gold. But,
I think Zack his own highlight is a singles match.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I would love to have seen that as like a follow-up match on Blood and Guts. It would have been great for people to see how those two really work.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam, go about the way you thought, or
yeah, I think this one kind of went the way I thought. I mean, I gotta say, I love Eddie Kingston. I love I always forget, it's the
Blackpool Combat Club.
Blackpool Combat Club. But I'm sick and tired of them going up against JS. Let's do something different. I feel like it's getting a little overplayed at this point. This was definitely... This is probably one of my least favorite matches out of the main card. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a bad match. It just kind of went the way I thought it was going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. It was one of those where it's like, I know they're not going to give the win to Kingston and company because they're setting up for Blood and Guts, which is the blow-off between the two crews, the Blackpool Combat Club and the JAS. That was the big blow-off match. So that story arc, outside of maybe some ancillary jack-jawing, is pretty much done. So I think your wish is granted moving forward. Now, could they still pull something? I think it'll be a more internal thing. It'll just be some seed that is planted, and I'll talk more about this later, coming from the finish of the main event from Blood and Guts. But yeah, I'm with you. This match did play off the way I thought. I mean, I got to see Suzuki lay in his classic armbar over the top, and a few other Suzuki golden moves. But yeah, it played off exactly the way I expected it to, even though I do wish they had introduced Jericho and Sammy as the Latex Gods with Minoru Suzuki. it would have been a little more on the nose. But beyond that, I mean, good first match. It was not terrible by any means. Not terrible by any means. All right, moving on.
Moving on. Okay, number two was the big tag title match, three-way tag team match for both the ROH titles and the IGWP titles. So we've got FTR holding... Oh, my bad. But either way, we've got... this is acronyms. So we've got FTR and Jeff Cobb and the Great Okan with their titles on the line, and then Roppongi Vice is kind of the third wheel with nothing to lose.
Yep. This honestly was my favorite match of the night because it had that lovely, lovely gimmick right about a quarter of the way in. Dax goes in for the sliding attack on, I believe it was one of the United Empire guys. I forget who exactly it was off the top of my head. But then he immediately starts clutching his arm and then, disappears. They talk about it, like he goes back to medical, and he's gone. It becomes a handicap match, 1-on-4, pretty much. And Cash is working his ass off the entire fucking match. I mean, Cobb and Okan are fucking just dominating everything. Rocky and Trent are doing damn good. They're a great tag team. I recommend you go back and watch any of the feud between Roppongi Vice and the Young Bucks in New Japan. They're solid matches. Especially, let's see, what was it? Wrestle Kingdom in 2015 or 16. I forget which one it was exactly. But yeah, really good one.
I really enjoyed this match. I also loved the gimmick. Like, I kind of they got me. They got me on the gimmick. Like, I was literally like FTR's done. They're done. And then like he comes running back out, after how long it was, and I was like, yes. Like,
oh yeah, they worked everybody because I thought it was a legit. Like, everyone's like, I guess he dislocated his shoulder or something. He comes back with it fucking taped up, and he's really selling that he can't use it too well. He's taking bumps to it and, selling that even more. But then you find out after the show, during the media scrum, he still comes out with it taped up. You do find out it leaked. It was a kayfabe injury, so he didn't actually dislocate it. It was just done to make the story that much more, intense. And it definitely fucking did. It did its job, and it did its job well.
That shoulder looked fine tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's I was wondering about that because, I didn't see the thing in the leak that it was kayfabe because I had seen somewhere that they were saying it was legit, like after the media scrum, like the day after.
Yeah, The one I saw said it was a kayfabe shoulder injury.
Well, and so after tonight, I would believe that it was a work, just because I mean the man dropped like, 3 or 4, maybe more German suplexes in a row.
So many.
Like you're not gonna go in like that if you've got an actual separated shoulder. So I mean that, I don't know, but they're still pushing it. He came out with tape tonight, but yeah, they got us. My wife and I were watching, and we were both like, "Oh shit!" And you were saying like, "Oh my god, Forbidden Door really is cursed." That's been one of the things leading up to this. There have been so many actual injuries
and like people getting sick.
Yeah. So yeah, we were the same way. We're like, "Oh my god!" This was the one match where we were actually really invested in the outcome. Since FTR did their face turn, we've like really been on the FTR train, big time.
Completely same.
Yeah, I really didn't care for them much when they were doing the whole Pinnacle thing and where they had Tully Blanchard representing them. Once they kicked Tully out,
so mismanaged. God, I loved it when it was just them and Tully, and they kept fucking teasing like they were going to do a 4 horsemen and like a new 4 horsemen, and then they never did.
Yeah,
I mean, because they teased it so hard. They gave Shawn Spears the black glove, like god damn it, I forgot the name. As soon as I started talking about it, I forgot it. So I mean, it's still there. But people that know, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But like they teased it so hard, and then you automatically wanted to think who's going to be the Flair in the group, because you've got the Neo, Arn, and Tully with FTR.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the other Barry Windham. That's who it is. You've got the Barry Windham and Shawn Spears. Now you need the mouth, the money, the person that fucking puts the butts in the seats for the group.
Well, could have been MJF.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of how it went with the Pinnacle. But they just fucking dropped the ball with that shit so hard. Mm-hmm. It's like as soon as they formed, they did dick all with them, other than Blood and Guts last year. That's it. That's pretty much the only high point in the Pinnacle's whole run was Blood and Guts last year, and then throwing Jericho through the stage. That is it. But yeah, totally mismanaged thing. And they even came out and said they thought the Pinnacle was totally like done wrong, like misbooked, mismanaged. But anywho, I've been all for face FTR, and then after tonight, I'm even more all about face FTR.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And
yes.
Story-wise, they're going to have every fucking tag belt. They're going to beat the Young Bucks.
I never thought that I would be in a position where I would be cool with the Bucks losing a title, but I'd be cool with that. Honestly, that would be A-okay.
They need to do it, and then they need to do their version of the Ultimo Dragon Grand Prix 10 titles picture. I mean, they're only going to have 8 belts as opposed to 10, but it'll be 8 belts each. But I don't know if either of you have seen that image, but go ahead and look up Ultimo Dragon, like his Grand Prix title win. This was before they unified a ton of belts in Japan. And he came to WCW with all 10 of these belts on at one time. Like, he had all of them slung up, like, because he had won shit in New Japan, All Japan. He had won some other tournaments. He had 10 fucking titles.
Well, I mean, they already hold the AAA. They could get some other non-AEW titles. Go for 10. 10-star FTR. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm for it. Because I was worried for a hot minute. Like you said, they got us. I was worried they weren't going to do it, and then they did it, and I was so happy. And now the prospect of seeing them wrestle in Japan has me so fucking excited. So excited. I want to see the boys go down to Japan and just fucking get let loose.
This is where I'm a little surprised by this turn. I feel like I'm a little surprised they gave it to him, because now they do have to go wrestle in Japan. And I feel like FTR has become such a staple in AEW now. Like, I'm surprised they still have the ROH belts at this point because of how much they're pushing them in AEW right now. So that was, I guess, my only surprise. Like, I kind of saw it coming, and I agree with you. I believe they're going to beat the Bucks, and then they're going to have the 3 titles. But I was a little surprised from that angle.
Yeah. My main thing is I'm still surprised they have the AAA tag belt. Truly.
I always forget about those.
Yeah, they've had them for a long time now. I think they beat Ray and Penta for those, if I remember correctly. But
I think they did.
Yeah, I'm amazed they still have them because AAA just had Triple Mania not too long ago, and so I'm really surprised they didn't have FTR on that show to defend those belts. But either way, from the story standpoint, they're goodwill ambassadors for AAA, showing that, AAA is still willing to play ball. They share back and forth a little bit, not as much as some of the other companies do, but you've got that going. I mean, FTR I want them to keep all these belts until they get the AEW title, and then they can slowly start, either losing or having the belts stripped because, they're not defending them. They can start doing the, hey, if you're not here to defend it, you get stripped of your title type of angle. Whatever.
Yes,
but I do want them to start, do get that belt. Even though, I'm Bullet Club for life type of guy, and I hate saying anything against Bullet Club, but I'm so invested in the way the FTR story is going right now. I'm okay for the Bucks to take this L right now and make them look damn good. Moving on, third match. Unless anyone has anything else they want to add in about FTR and the fun times that match had.
Nope, top guy's out.
I think that's the perfect wrap up on that one.
That's the soundbite of the night. All right, so number 3.
Moving on, this was the 4-way match for the newest AEW title for All Atlantic. It was Pac, Miro, Malachi Black, and late entry Clark Connors.
Clark Connors was just at best of the Super Junior. And the big angle with Clark Connors, to give you guys some backstory, is everyone was like, he's a fucking heavyweight. He's like, no, I'm still a junior. But, I mean, look at Clark Connors. He's fucking jacked. He's huge. And he just recently graduated from the dojo, the LA dojo, and this is his first gimmick, the big game hunter, Clark Connors.
So it's a wild rhino?
Yeah, wild rhino.
Yeah.
I'm all for it because I like Clark Connors. He's real good. But I do wish EGE had still been there because then you would have some burly fucking shit going on between him and Miro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one thing that did with EGE not there, it allowed for a lot more fast-paced action to happen because all the guys in the ring could work very, very quick now. And there were no major mismatches in size or anything. It kind of evened it out a bit more. It opened up some spot possibilities. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping against hope that Miro was going to get this belt because I mean it just felt like what should have happened. But at the same time, the outcome of Pac getting the belt made me so happy because he's also one of those that's deserved a rub for so fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
And he finally got it. And I was just like, I ain't even mad.
Yeah, I mean, this was one where I didn't have any attachment to Clark Connors. I didn't really know anything about him, so he was just sort of on the outside for me. But of the 3, AEW representatives, I would have been fine with any of them winning it. I mean, I think they've all done really good work in AEW. I'm just glad that Miro's back. I was kind of disappointed that when he was out for so long.
A long time. He hadn't been in anything since Full Gear of last year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just been great to have him back at all. So, and I kind of figured he might not necessarily get a title as, only being back for, a few weeks or a month or whatever. I would have been fine if he still got it, but I didn't assume he'd get it. I actually kind of thought that Malachi might end up with it just because they always build him up to be just such a powerhouse, like no matter who he goes up against. But
he is good.
Go ahead.
No, that's all I want to say. He is good.
Oh yeah, no, he's good. But yeah, like you said, but Pac is great in the ring. He doesn't cut too many promos, I feel like, so he doesn't get a lot of character development, but he is great in the ring. Period. Whether it's solo or whether doing the Death Triangle stuff with the Lucha Bros.
Oh, Death Triangle is one of my favorite factions.
Oh, I love Death Triangle.
He's great whenever he's in the ring. So this was really a win-win. It really didn't matter who came out on top. I was going to be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. I'm right there in the same boat. Truly, I mean, if it sounds like I'm contradicting what I said before, it's one of those things where I'm not. It's just Miro was who I was leaning heaviest towards. But overall, any of those three, if they had walked away with it, I'd been happy. Hell, I wouldn't have even cared if Clark Connors would got it. But Clark Connors being a last-minute addition, mentally booking-wise, I'm like, Connors isn't going to get this belt.
Yeah, it'd be super weird to have him, skip the early stages of the tournament and just surprise he wins.
I know it wouldn't have made any sense, but at least he got to show how good he was. I mean, he got a clean hit of his fucking finisher on somebody and went in for a cover before it got broken up. I mean, that right there tells you that. You're on the right track. You got that something. If they're going to let you get a false finish in against these fucking big names, you've got a little something happening.
Mm-hmm. So I went into this match fully expecting Miro to win. From my perspective, didn't know anything about Connors. Although I will say Connors in this match really impressed me. Like, his moves, him selling everything was, I thought was really good. Like, I was kind of like, whoa, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he's pretty good. Just my opinion. I really just didn't want Malachi Black to win because I don't like him. But I was overly surprised and happy that Pac won. Like, I have a lot, because I like Death Triangle, like, I like Pac. And I think that he does a good job. I think he's really good in the ring. So I was really happy to see him take the win. And I figured he was the least person going into this match. I figured he was the least likely to take this win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of, when I think about it, is like he's the one where he was kind of the X factor for the three mains. I would have figured because of the hype of Miro returning, and then how much of a big part of the show Malachi Black's been lately. I figured it would have been them, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I have to, like, hindsight's 20/20 now, looking back on it and see, okay, Malachi was coming out on top of Death Triangle and Pac so regularly. This is that kind of long format storytelling. This story arc's been going on for months now. And this is pretty much the nail in the coffin. This is Pac getting, his just desserts. He bested them. And
I'm really hoping. I was kind of disappointed now that Miro's back that I didn't buy that Redeem These Nuts T-shirt when it was on AEW website.
Oh man,
my son gets a kick out of it every time he walks in the rooms. He doesn't really watch wrestling with me; like, he's semi-interested. And he walked in one day, and somebody in the front row was wearing that shirt. He just was laughing his ass off.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
The Redeemer character is so fucking good, especially after he lost the TNT title and went into the I hate God angle of the Redeemer. where it's like, I love him, but I hate him, and I'm going to show him how much I fucking am better than him type of angle. I was like, oh, even better. Because then they were able to tone down how much he just talked about banging his wife.
Yeah. It's true. But no, that was such a good arc. Yeah, I remember like the first promo he cut like that. So, you know, my wife and I watch, and, you know, her brother and his wife watch, and we text each other while we're watching, and he was like, oh my God, Miro's feuding with God now. It's just like this storyline's gonna be amazing. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that would ruin it is if they made someone dress up in a robe and a white wig and beard, and they beat the shit out of it.
You know, I have a feeling that TBS might have an issue with that.
Or even better, if there's someone in the front row dressed as Jesus, like every now and then you'll go to a con or something, there'll be someone dressed as Jesus for a laugh. If they have someone dressed as Jesus in the front row and he pulls him into the ring.
Yep.
It would be such a fucking terrible idea. It would ruin everything, but I would just laugh. If the feud with God would be fully cemented then. But yeah, it was a great match. I know people are complaining and saying AEW's got too many titles. I'm like, no, they don't.
Not with the amount of talent that they've added, and then if we're getting this third show, they really gotta. I completely disagree with those people that are claiming that. I would say, like, I was definitely like, oh, their talent pool's getting a little big, but then we found out and we got the rumblings of the third show, and I'm like, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah. If we get the third show good, and once they get ROH fully rolling, I mean, we've got the ROH pay-per-view here in about 3 weeks, which I'm excited about. Was it Death Before Dishonor? It's going to be good, because then you'll have multiple shows, you'll have some of the talent that doesn't get too much shine on AEW programming on the regular, probably working some ROH shows. As long as they don't turn it into an AEW B show, it'll be okay. If they let ROH exist as ROH, which is what he says he wants to do, it's a good place to funnel a lot of the talent that just doesn't get the praise and time that they need. It's good that a whole second company to do it.
Is Wheeler Yuta defending in that pay-per-view?
He probably will be. I know he just defended on Dark this week.
I'm gonna have to. I might have to order that pay-per-view.
Really?
Yeah. He defended against Daniel Garcia on Dark.
Jeez. Okay. All right.
I feel like that should have been an AEW match, but
a full-blown like televised match. Yeah. I agree. I mean, Dark. Don't get me wrong. For being a free show, some of the recent Darks have had stacked fucking cards. I'm just like, that would make a good fucking Rampage. It would be better than most Rampages. When I saw the card for one of these coming up, I was like, that would be better than half the Rampages that have showed up lately. But
I mean, they have some really good matches on Dark, but I feel like they typically don't put a lot of like high stakes stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be a good show, but it doesn't really matter in like the long term.
Yeah, a title change on Dark would be odd, but I mean, you've got to have Wheeler defend that belt every now and then. Just like you've had FTR they've defended the ROH titles a few times already. Mm-hmm. I'm ready for them to figure out what they're going to do to get ROH off the ground and where they're going to put the ROH programming, so that way it balances out and they've got more, market coverage. Because if AEW gets a third show, they've already got Wednesday, Friday. I would almost assume they'll put their third show on Monday, so that way you have Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then you could do your ROHs Tuesday, Thursday, and you have a week-long, set of, programs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, that's the only way I can see doing it, and it'll spread things out. But going back to the title idea, to agree with you, Adam, I don't think they have too many either, because if you break it down like this, ignore the ROH titles. They don't count as AEW titles. People are counting them as AEW titles. I'm like, no, they're not. The AEW titles are the main big guy, Pretty Platinum. If you remember Cody's nickname for it. the tag title, the TNT title, the TBS title, and the women's title. That's only 5 belts. That's really not that many.
And they
New
also
Japan at one time had a bazillion and one fucking belt. They've narrowed it down a little bit. They still got way more titles than AEW does. The things I think AEW still needs, they need a women's tag belt.
Yep.
Set.
Yep.
Okay. And that'll pretty much do them, because then you've got 3 and 3. And then, I forgot the All Atlantic belt because it's so new. I forgot it just then. So you'll have 3-3 and you'll have the All Atlantic. But if you've got it balanced to where there's the decent classic symmetry, main title, even though they don't want to call the TNT title a mid-card title, it kind of is, and then the tag title, those are your main breaks right there. And you have one for the men and a set for the women, and then you have the All Atlantic title, which is kind of your, your journeyman title, which I hope they traveling more to make it seem more like an international belt, something they defend overseas, not just on the AEW main show. But they don't have.
I also think that they do such long runs with the 2 top belts on both men and women, which is, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but when you have such long runs, you need something else. You need other belts that can change hands, in my opinion. Like, I was shocked. I was shocked and happy at the same time that Hangman's reign came so quick. But, like, going into that match, you're like, there's no way he's going to lose it. Like, it's way too soon based on AEW's timelines in the past.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, Jericho felt like he held his belt for a million years. And then,
that was early on, too, though. I mean, they were still building out the roster.
And then Mox got it. Mox held it for quite some time. And then Kenny got it. Kenny held it for nearly a year. And then Hangman gets it, and Hangman has it for 6 months.
Well, and then look at how long Baker's reign was.
A year. Her reign was pretty much a year. Sheeta's reign was a year. And then Nyla and Riho. I kept wanting to say Riku. I was like, no, that's Final Fantasy X. But Riho, their reigns weren't terribly long. We'll talk about it when we get to the Thunder Rosa one, but I've got opinions on that for sure. But I think they're doing fine with the number of belts they have. Do I wish they had a triple tag belt set? Sure, that'd be pretty cool, because you've got so many fucking trios in AEW, it's insane.
I feel like that has to be coming.
Yeah.
At one point, I feel like they were teasing it, and then it just kind of fell off the radar for a bit.
Mm-hmm. I feel like it's still on the horizon. Anything more than that, and you'll definitely have too many. I mean, they don't need a never open weight belt like New Japan does, because New Japan, they've got the Strong title, they've got Strong's version of the never open weight titles, they've got the never open weight 6-man title, they've got the regular never open weight title, they've got the junior heavyweight tag titles, the regular tag titles, the junior heavyweight title, and then the IWGP World Championship, which is the fused belt, which would have been the IWGP Intercontinental and the IWGP Heavyweight title. So yeah, they fused those 2 belts together. So they lost 1 belt over the past 2 years. But they have so many others. Oh, and then they also have the KOPW Provisional Championship, which is a trophy, much like AEW has the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
Oh, you know what? You forgot about, I think, the AEW belts. You got the Owen Hart belts now too.
Which one?
I don't think those count though, because I think they're only doing those in tournament.
Yeah, which, I mean, and that's how they did the
Owen Hart belts are more like they're not like a defendable thing. It's kind of like just a bragging rights trophy, as opposed to a true title.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do with it next year.
Agreed. I honestly think they're just going to make new belts every year. It's not going to be like one of those things where they cycle through. I think it's just going to turn into like a fancy trophy. The first ever winners, Britt and Cole. Even though I really think Ruby should have got it, but that's besides the point. Yeah, people were bringing those up, and the Dynamite Diamond Ring. I was like, those are things that show up once a year. The Dynamite Diamond Ring, beyond being just a vehicle for MJF to punch people in the forehead, has done fuck all. It's a non-entity. It exists. It could have been something, but it's just become a fucking gimmick weapon.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. As soon as they start doing something with it, then I will treat it as a title. The KOPW trophy, they do things with it. Shingo's the current KOPW champion. I wish he had brought that little thing to the ring with him, but we'll talk more about him in a little bit. But it's great because it sets up matches to where the people participating in the match get to choose stipulations for how the match plays out. And those stipulations are voted on by the fans, so the fans choose how that match is going to go.
We forgot about
like what sort of handicap person's going to have.
We forgot about one belt.
What's that?
The FTW.
Yeah.
That's an unrecognized, non-sanctioned title. Taz says it every time.
It's a lifestyle belt.
Yes, it's a lifestyle belt.
I was ripping on Sparks the other day, and somebody's like, "Who's got the FTW?" I'm like, "Okay, when he gets a real championship belt, then come talk to me."
The only real championship he has had, he was the NWA television title before he left NWA. But he was the NWA television champion.
Honestly,
so that's where I discovered it.
I kind of like that he has the, say it in quotes, fake belt. Like it sort of works with his character. Like the totally unearned bravado. I mean, well, he's good in the ring. I won't say that, but you know what I mean. Like, just
he's so fucking full of himself and thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. His shit doesn't stink.
To just a comical level. I love it. It's so fun to watch, and it wouldn't work if he had an actual legitimate belt. Because then, he would have earned it. You can't really say anything about it. But when he's got the FTW belt, he's out there, posing with it and kissing it and stuff, and just making the, pumping his fist to the beat of his own song. Like, it just, I don't know. It works. It works for me.
Yeah. And then seeing him come out, because it may happen right after this match, but seeing him come out and say, "We're the Chicago Bulls."
Yeah, that's right.
I was like, oh shit, you're Jordan and Pippen, you and Hobbs?
That's right.
I was like, it really, really sells it. I love it. Though. I hope those two become like a formidable tag team, because they are great. Hobbs is another one that, for being as young as he is, has tons of potential. So, what's the next one on the docket?
Next one was a fun one. The sort of Bullet Club, the one night only version of the Bullet Club.
Yes.
With the against what AEW dubbed as the Dudes with Attitudes.
Lamest name ever.
Which is a throwback to early '90s WCW.
Yep. Which I'm glad that they did mention that in the commentary. I didn't really watch wrestling back then, so it was totally lost on me, because when I saw it on the card, I was like, that's fucking horrible. Like, that's awful.
Yeah, it's like, I saw it and I was like, I couldn't remember it. It triggered this, like, I know this sounds really fucking familiar, and I just couldn't place it. And then Excalibur, of course, Encyclopedia Excalibur opened his mouth, and I was just like, now I remember.
Yeah.
So the best part of this match was the opening. The throwback, Sting's gonna jump right away by the opening.
Oh, yeah.
And they did like the fake out where he was like, supposedly on the ledge up there, like there was some dude who looked like Sting.
Down from the rafters.
I did too. That's what I thought was gonna happen.
I was scared that that's where they were going. I'm like, nope, no one should do that anymore. Don't do that.
It's not learned from Owen and the Blue Blazer. That would be so tasteless after the whole Owen Hart tournament
I
thing.
know. So I'm glad that they went the way they did, where he jumped off the arch and not, coming down from the ceiling.
I wonder who was fake. I wonder who they got to play fake Sting in the rafters.
Maybe it was just a cutout. I don't know. They didn't pan in really closely. It could have been a mannequin.
Oh, could have been. You're right. But goddamn it, Sting at 62 or however fucking old he is, doing those fucking dives.
Oh, he's done so many of those lately. I'm just shocked. There's all the ones he's done in those street brawls with the tables and everything. I'm just shocked. Yeah. He's still doing all those.
In the interviews, he's just he everything he says, he's teaming with Darby has made him feel young again, and he's not afraid to do these things. He's yeah, I know I'm old, I know I could get fucking hurt, but I'm having so much fucking fun.
Which is awesome.
He's gonna go till the wheels fall off at this point. Oh yeah, I'm all for it. I do worry for him doing some of this stuff, but hey, if he's making the choice himself, he's taking it. That's fine. If he wants to do it, let him do it.
Now, this match right here, I only personally dinged it because it was too much comedy for the way this card was. But it was expected with the team up of El Phantasmo and the Young Bucks. I was this is exactly what I expected to happen, because I know neither of you are really familiar with the Dermis Destroyer, but that is the way El Phantasmo sets up his back rake in every New Japan match.
So is that just an El Phantasmo thing, or did the Bucks do that with him?
The Bucks did it first. El Phantasmo does his take on it, because one of El Phantasmo's things is he will do signature moves from past Bullet Club members. He'll do Styles Clash. He'll do the V Trigger. He'll do the One-Winged Angel. He just hits the high notes of Bullet Club. He'll do some Young Buck stuff. His big thing is he used to have a loaded boot, and he would do a super kick, which would just knock people the fuck out. And, that was a whole gimmick for a year, where he just keeps fucking with his during the matches, because he had a lead plate in the bottom of it. And he'd super kick people and just knock them cold. And then everyone's his fucking boot's loaded. He's nah, man, it's fine. And then they finally jerked his boot off in a match and pulled it out, and they threw him out, and they threw him out of the match.
There you go.
But kept the match going. But yeah, El Phantasmo is, I love him to death. He's one of my favorite people, just because he can actually wrestle really, really well. He's a high flyer for sure. And he can do the comedy. He's just so over the top. He's very, very Bucks-like.
Mm-hmm.
It's enjoyable, but you got to pair him with a straight man.
Yeah,
Ivy Ishimori, Bone Soldier. He doesn't do the comedy quite as much. He balances El Phantasmo out. But when you have the Bucks and Phantasmo together, that's a bit too much.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful, but a bit too much.
Well, too, I thought it was weird to have all of the, do the comedy, but not really have a lot of, impressive looking spots to go with it. Because that's one of the things, I've said this time and time again. I think every time I've been on the podcast with you, I love the Bucks. I love what they do. I love the goofy stuff. But, there's also a lot of athleticism to it. They're goofy as hell, but the spots look awesome. Even if they've got some really silly things in it. I didn't really feel like they did it this time. There's a lot of the comedy, but not really a lot to back it up. So I was a little disappointed. I mean, I still like the match overall. That would be the only downside for me, I'd say, for this one.
Yeah. I thought it was just too comedy heavy without anything to back it up myself. So much the same as you were thinking. Mm-hmm. When I did my little scorecard, I was like, it's a 6.5. It wasn't amazing. but it wasn't bad. And any time El Phantasmo lands Thunder Kiss 86, I'm okay with it. Because what's funny is the past day or two, I felt like it. I've been listening to White Zombie, and one of the songs that popped up on the thing today, just the way it stopped on my screen when the title kept scrolling through on my machine. Phantasmo was in the title. So it makes me wonder if El Phantasmo got his name through a White Zombie song, and that's why one of his moves is Thunder Kiss 86, referencing Thunder Kiss 69.
Very well could be.
Could be. Just one of those funny cool things to notice. But Tyler, Adam, how did you take it?
I kind of agree with you guys. I thought it started off just awesome, with the whole Sting thing, and then I thought it was going to be just great, and then I don't know, I think I found myself looking at my phone a bunch during this match. I was just kind of like, eh. It wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't a great match. Typically you see a lot more of the Young Bucks. Usually the Young Bucks have me glued to my television when they're wrestling.
Another thing that this reminds me of is this match is one that really was hurt by the last minute change. If Hiromu had been there, you would have been able to balance out the Bucks, because Hiromu is LIJ's wild personality. He isn't super comical. He wrestles like a fucking madman, but he matches that energy that the Bucks and El Phantasmo have. Sting and Shingo don't. Darby does to an extent, but his character's much more serious and less comic related. Hiromu has a little more lighthearted characterization. So you don't have him, you've thrown the mood of the match off. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you've got the serious guys, and Shingo looked great in the match, and seeing him do the LIJ fist bump with Sting was glorious. And then finishing it off with a pumping bomber, because, his fucking lariats are the nastiest and meanest looking things on the planet. But it's just, that really is what did it, and that's where the overly comical thing really stood, because they didn't have that balance. If Hikuleo had been in the match with them, he doesn't wrestle the comical style. It would have been 3 comedy, 1 serious against 3 serious, 1 air quotes comedy. You would have had more symmetry in the match, mood would have been better balanced. That's kind of the way I see it. Mm-hmm. But like I said, overall, not terrible. So what do we have next?
All right, next was the women's title match. Had Thunder Rosa defending against Toni Storm.
Not bad. This match I didn't rate very high, because there was something it had an awkward finish. There was something about the finish that seemed off. It went, the way I expected, but there was just something off about it the whole time. And, it is what it is. But it just had an off feeling to me. So it just didn't invest me very well, because both of them could wrestle like crazy. And this is finally one of those matches that Thunder Rosa needed to make her title reign seem a little more important. Because honestly, she's played second fiddle to fucking Jade and Britt Baker, who doesn't even have the title anymore, ever since she won the belt. Mm-hmm. And a TBS title, the mid-card title, should never seem more important than your main women's title.
I was very meh with this match. Yeah. This is my least favorite match of the whole night.
Yeah, I'm there too, and I'm a big fan of Thunder Rosa, and it's just, I don't know. There was something about this match that just didn't click with me. It wasn't bad. It was a technically solid match. The only issue, beyond it just not having that investment, was the finish. The finish was weird.
Yeah, and I'd agree. This is probably my least favorite for the match. It was fine. but that's kind of it. That was the extent of it.
Yeah.
The other thing too is, I mean, I understand why they did it. They need to have some of the women's set represented in the pay-per-views, which I know, working with New Japan, it kind of presents a little bit of a problem, but this kind of has, to me, a little bit of the same issue as the Camarado Archer buy-in. This is a match that could have been on any other AEW pay-per-view. It's two AEW talents with no New Japan representation at all. At least like even with Archer, you have kind of like, okay, he's part of Suzuki-gun, fine.
It's small interruption for you, Corey.
Sure.
Because I have people go. The only thing is, it's a loose connection because both of them wrestled with Stardom, which is New Japan's women's division.
So I mean that makes it make sense, but I mean it's still
under
the current setup.
Yeah.
It's not special. You know what I mean? Like
no.
That's how I would phrase it, I guess.
Yeah, if they had brought someone from Stardom over, like maybe a Stardom champion to put up against Thunder Rosa, it would have made more sense.
Yeah, exactly.
For like a Forbidden Door type thing, and then you would have, bridged another gap between, AEW and New Japan through Stardom, which is, the women's promotion that they work with. So
yeah, and I'll go even a little further on, both of your comments. Is I think that Toni Storm is still so new. I don't care about her. Like, Toni Storm or Thunder Rosa defending against Toni Storm could have been on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, it didn't even need to be pay-per-view. I was just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, it didn't have the investment. I think the build was a bit too fast. It was just a way to get Tony a little more over and finally give Thunder Rosa kind of a high-profile opponent. That's not Britt Baker.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
It just kind of fell flat. It did. I want Rosa's title reign to get a little more important. She needs some bigger names. It's like a lot of the bigger opponents who, like Britt made a name with her for herself with, aren't doing much anymore. Like, I don't know what Sheeta's doing.
Well, that's a whole lot. You could talk about that for a while on its own, right?
Yeah. It's a whole thing, and I definitely don't want to go down that rabbit hole because we'll be here until the sun comes up. But next is probably one of the highest profile matches of the night. It is the big 4-way match for the IWGP World Championship.
Actually,
I'm skipping one.
You skipped two, actually. Yep, you skipped
I thought it was the next one.
Nope.
What did I skip?
No, the next one was Cassidy and Will Ospreay.
Oh, you're right. Well, how did I skip that one? God damn, it was so good.
I've been waiting for this one to come up. And I was like, you skip it.
Your thunder. I'll let you lead the charge on it since I almost shit the bed so hard. Go ahead. Take it.
So this, to me, this was my favorite match of the night. These two were so entertaining, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, who else could have pulled off some of those moves other than Orange Cassidy? Like, just some of the throws and the leg work, like, I was glued to the TV through this whole entire thing. And they had me almost believing that Orange Cassidy was going to win. And I think we're going to see a big Orange push coming.
Oh, yeah. Orange is over as hell. I mean, if he had won, it would have been the perfect thing to continue Will Ospreay's New Japan is conspiring against me story arc, where he keeps thinking everyone's shitting him out of, like, getting his due and getting his titles back. It would just make perfect sense. But, yeah, I had a feeling Orange wasn't going to win just because they wanted to introduce Ospreay a little more to the American market, because not too many people beyond diehard wrestling fans know Ospreay's work. I mean, I myself, first time I saw him wrestle, he was wrestling Ricochet in New Japan at one of the Wrestle Kingdoms. And he climbed the lighting rig beside the fucking ring and did a moonsault off of it into, like, the other competitors in the match. I mean, he was a solid 20, 25 feet in the air when he did it. And if you see how, like, big Ospreay looks now, back then he was just slightly larger than Orange Cassidy muscle-wise.
Oh, jeez.
But he's been stupid good ever since, and he's only getting better. And I'll say this. I've seen so many good memes for this match. The best one was, someone's like, what was your favorite match of Forbidden Door? And they post a picture of Ocean Spray orange juice.
Nice.
Because like, so many people were just calling Will Ospreay Will Ocean Spray.
Jeez.
And so it was the perfect tie-in. I was like, that is glorious. Well done, whoever thought that meme up.
Well done.
But yeah, it was a good one. But Corey, you?
Yeah, so this one, I enjoyed this one a lot. I'm always going to be on board for Orange Cassidy matches. Blah. I like his work in ring. The comedy and the wrestling together is great. Will Ospreay, I didn't really know what to expect. I don't know a lot about him. They did have, they've had him on AEW, TV a little bit lately to kind of lead into Forbidden Door. And I wasn't really impressed with what they had on television. So I kind of went into this just, whatever. It's another match, but was really pleasantly surprised. It started off strong and just stayed good through the whole thing. The back and forth was great. The just constant shock at not being able to put Cassidy away with like any of his moves, just this constant heavy hitting and like, oh my god, it keeps kicking out. What is happening right now? It was just great.
It's crazy because when I found out that Cassidy is my age,
which that blows my mind still every time I see him in the ring.
I thought he maybe was in his late 20s. Maybe. And then to find out he's pushing like almost 40. Yep. I was like, holy shit. And then Will Ospreay is in his late 20s. And they're just like, god damn. They can go.
Yeah. It was good start to finish. I have no complaints about this match. The only thing is I kind of figured it was even with kind of building up to where it looked like Orange could maybe win it, I was really, really assuming he wasn't, just because New Japan had already lost a set of titles, during the three-way tag match, and I was like, there's no way they're going to pull another title off of New Japan and give it to AEW. So
yeah.
I kind of felt like I knew it was going to happen already, but the match itself was fantastic.
Yeah, and this match was more to continue the fact that Juice Robinson, and for those that don't know, Tony Storm's husband, is the former U.S. title holder for New Japan, but he refuses to acknowledge that he was stripped of the title when he tried to kayfabe an injury to get out of the match. So he's like, no, I never lost this belt. So he's pulling the Ospreay, because Ospreay did the same thing with the IWGP title last year. So it's a nice little full circle kind of movement, and I'm enjoying it.
I appreciated Juice Robinson's little cameo during Forbidden Door. The last time I saw Juice Robinson was at a New Japan house show in Durham, like 2.5, 3 years ago.
Juice Robinson.
Say what?
Back when he was still flamboyant, Juice Robinson.
Yes, exactly. So I haven't seen him since then, and to see Rock Hard Juice Robinson is now his gimmick.
The show that I was at, the Capital Collision, was when he debuted the Rock Hard gimmick, because he cut this promo. Yeah, he cut it, like, he just joined Bullet Club not long before that, and he cut the promo. Like, he's like, I'm Rock Hard, and everyone's just like, holy shit. And then that's how he got the name Rock Hard Juice Robinson. I was like, that is great.
Yeah. But it's such a switch from what I'm used to seeing him as. So I was like, what has happened in the last 3 years or whatever. But
I'm digging heel juice. It is great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just back to the match though, like there were so many like good spots and trading off of, moments. Seeing Cassidy get caught more than once trying to get his tornado DDT.
Mm-hmm.
And then Will Ospreay being so annoyed that that's everything Cassidy could do with his hands in his pocket.
Yep.
But then also them ripping his pockets out at the end of the match was kind of nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we'll see them go against each other again sometime soon.
That I would love to see a rematch.
Adam, you in the same boat?
Definitely. I would love to see that. I'm a big Orange Cassidy fan. That's probably like my favorite out of what I've seen. That's my favorite Orange Cassidy match. And I'm such a fan of Orange that I've gone on YouTube and like watched old matches from before I started following him and some of his stuff pre AEW.
Oh wow. I've seen very little of his pre AEW stuff. Very little. So that's pretty impressive right there alone. So, what do we have next?
Yeah, I was about to say we still got one more before the before the big one. Next one was Zack Sabre Jr. and then the surprise debut of Claudio Castagnoli.
Oh, I am amazed I forgot these two now. Fuck me.
Shame, Will. Shame.
I know. The big thing going in for this one was everyone's like, who's it going to fucking be? Who's going to be the debut? Everyone's like the top three choices that I remember right off the top of my head. Number 1 was Claudio. Number 2 was Johnny Gargano.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, who was the third? Oh, the third one was Bray Wyatt.
Well, this one, I think this one kind of leaked though. So I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. A story leaked that Claudio had applied for
him nearby.
Yeah, for like his trademark with the AEW like attorney, and I was like, well, there you go. We know who
no, that was Bray Wyatt was doing something with the AEW attorney that weekend too.
Okay, yeah. See, the one I saw was Claudio, and I was like, oh well, it's him.
Because apparently, like, it's AEW's go-to trademark attorney, but also he's just the trademark attorney for almost the entire wrestling world, bar none. So when you hear that, it's kind of a gotcha sort of line for the news article, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's just AEW's attorney. I was talking about that recently. He's like, nah, that dude does it for everybody. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
And I didn't see the article with the other guy, so I was like, okay, well, this is who it is. I'm not overly familiar with him prior to that, but I kind of figured that's who was coming.
Yeah, I know Grayson and I were way ready for Claudio, formerly known as Cesaro, the Swiss Cyborg, because that dude is so fucking good, and WWE, like, every once in a while you thought they were going to do something great with him, and then they just fucking drop him. Like, it was just like, what the fuck are you doing? You were misusing this dude so bad. I mean, he'd been in WWE for like fucking 10 years. But it's like every time he started to move up in the ranks, they'd lose interest and he'd just drop back down. It was just this constant seesaw. And so I'm hoping that with the Blackpool Combat Club and his debut, he stays hot. He doesn't kind of fall to the wayside like it seems to happen with their quasi-bloated roster right now. But he's already talking about how much he enjoys it. And he hasn't been there very long at all. He already likes the atmosphere more, etc.
Now let me, because this ties into the match a little bit too, but I'd just like to get your take on this. Because I don't, you know this, I don't really watch WWE. And I know, that's where he's been for a while. And I know a lot of people have been excited to, see him move to AEW. Does he have a larger move repertoire than what we have seen in Forbidden Door and then tonight at Blood and Guts. Because in these two matches, I've seen the running hip uppercut, the elevator uppercut, and sort of like a backwards sidewalk slam. And that's it. It's just like those three moves, and that is it over the course of probably, like 20 minutes worth of wrestling.
Those are his main, notable go-tos, but no, he's actually very good.
Okay. He's clearly super athletic, very strong. He's really fast to be that jacked as well. But I was surprised at the repetitive kind of moveset.
Yeah, they wanted to make him look strong, so they made him do his main things. And the one thing that everyone loved seeing him do was the giant swing. Because first I fucking said, making comments on, the show's Facebook page, I was like, if I don't see a fucking giant swing, I'm going to be pissed. And I think I texted my brother or someone else the same thing. And then I saw him set up for it. I got my phone out and I zoomed in on my screen real quick and I hit the record button. I recorded it. And then immediately I went and posted, "Ask and ye shall receive."
Yep.
And it was him spinning him around. I was like, fucking A. He's the only person that does the giant swing anymore, so it makes me happy when he does it.
Yep.
It's just such a goofy-ass move. And
I did enjoy that.
He's just really fucking good. And Grayson, myself, and a few others know him from his Ring of Honor days. And when he was Claudio there, he was so good. And then he went to WWE, and while he's still so good, he just mismanaged, and also injuries and things kind of waylaid him. But goddamn,
makes sense.
But Zack Sabre Jr. as well. I love watching him wrestle. He's one of my favorite people from New Japan to watch wrestle because it's so different than every other match. He's always smaller than everybody, but he works the submission game. He works technical wrestling, almost like pure technical wrestling, and it's so good. So.
See, and that's one thing I'll say that I appreciate about this match is the only other time that I think I've watched Zack Sabre Jr. was actually at the same New Japan house show, this time with the Juice Robinson thing. And, Grayson went to that show as well, and he was pumped to see Zack Sabre Jr. He's like, oh, he's so good, he's great, you're going to love it. And I think at the house show, they had him up against the Young Lion. And it was over in a minute. Nothing really impressive happened. I was like, okay, it was fine, But, they didn't have him up against, a real opponent. So, this match, actually getting to see him go up against, a real name and not just, a rookie, I was like, okay, I get it. I see what the deal is now. I can get behind this.
Oh, yeah, and it's rare that he does any moves that aren't, submission or, technical, pins or anything like that, but he's got the Zack driver, so it's like a Tiger driver, but it's his.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does have some moves like that, but because he's almost always paired up against someone that's going to work, your classic pro wrestling slams and everything style, taking the bump, it's like he doesn't have that kind of repertoire, and that's what it's like a nice palate cleanser. You see something different.
Mm-hmm.
And no one can hang with him. Secretly, I wanted to see him and Danielson so fucking bad. But then I was like, I'm fine with this. It changed the landscape of the match a ton, because I know him and Danielson would have been a technical tour de force. But yeah, I love Zack Sabre Jr. I'm not even mad that he lost, because I knew whoever was coming in was going to be the winner. Period, bar none. But yeah, short and long. It was just a good match overall. I was happy. Huge pop. I popped for Claudio.
I think you pretty much summed it all up. I will say, as a big Danielson fan, I was super disappointed that he wasn't able to fight this match. I think it would have been amazing. I hope that somehow they find a way to revisit this again.
Yeah.
And Danielson actually does get to fight him. So we'll see.
Oh, we'll definitely see. One thing, New Japan, while one of my buddies was telling me that he had heard New Japan wasn't super happy with the way the show went, like match outcome wise, they felt that it was a little heavy on AEW getting all the shine. They were very happy with how it turned out financially.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah.
It did stupid money.
Well, I mean,
it
I'll get into this a little bit more when we go to the last match. I was a little surprised that a New Japan person didn't win an AEW title.
Yeah. But they want the next one to happen in Japan. They want another Forbidden Door, and they want the next one to happen in Japan, and they've been talking about possibly making it, a regular thing where you have a US-based one and a Japanese Forbidden Door. So you've got two of them, one happening here, one happening there every year.
I'm down.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you'd be hard pressed to find people who wouldn't be interested.
Oh God, I want it to happen so bad. It would be so good. But yeah, let's go ahead now. Now is it my turn to talk about the big one?
It sure is. It's
the floor is yours.
The floor is mine. Yes, I jumped the gun, everybody. I'll own up to the fact that I fucking forgot 2 whole goddamn matches that I really, really liked just to jump to this 4-way for the IWGP title. Why? I don't know. But this match was damn fucking good. Jay White, Okada, Adam Cole, Adam Page. So good. I mean, it's amazing how over Okada is here with the AEW crowd, and this being the first show he's worked with them. Like, they popped so hard when the Rainmaker music hit. What's funny is, before All In, I couldn't stand watching Okada wrestle. I knew he was good, but he bored me to fucking tears. And then I see him live, and the music goes off, and I watch him wrestle again. I was like, holy shit, I do like Okada. And I saw him wrestle live back in May, and it's just like, every time I've seen him, I've been super stoked. And so now it's like I'm fully appreciative of Okada. Jay White, enough said. He is just so fucking good at what he does. Plain and simple. I mean, he looks small, but he's also fucking shredded out. And he's so fucking wily and sneaky. It's nuts. Adam Cole, of course, it's Adam Cole. He's the everyone owes me everything cocky mouthpiece that you need to have. And then Adam Page is the other one. I mean, I could say more, but we all know the Adam Page backstory. It's been going on for years now. He just, he has no self-confidence, and shit keeps raining on his parade. Plain and simple. I will say one other thing. The only thing Okada's entrance was missing was the raining money. Because that's one of the big things. Most Okada entrances for big shows, they open it up and it drops fake money, Rainmaker dollars, on everybody. And yeah, that didn't happen, so I was a bit sad. Granted, I have a real Rainmaker dollar. I joined New Japan's fan club at the show. It's like $50. But you get like a $30 gift certificate to their online store, so basically a free t-shirt.
Well, there's your t-shirt that you wanted.
Well, I think it only works with the American shop.
Ah, see, that's all they get you.
The fan club. But, yeah, got that. So I have a real Rainmaker dollar because they packaged it in with the membership ID badge and lanyard and a bunch of other stuff. So it's kind of cool to have one. But anyway, going back to entrances, I got sidetracked because I had fun little anecdotes. much like where I said if Claudio didn't do the giant swing, I was going to be angry. I was also going to be angry if Gato didn't come out with Jay White. But thank God they were smart, and Jay's most loyal lackey, Gato, came out with Jay during his entrance. I was like, yes, everything is right with the world. Now, I want you guys to talk about the match more, because I've got my thoughts, and they're mostly going to come down with the finish of the match. But I want to hear the various takes, because I'll talk all night.
Yeah. So I loved this match. I thought obviously I haven't been watching a lot, but Jay White was impressive to me. Okada was very impressive to me. I'm like, holy crap! Like, I want to watch more of this guy after this match.
You want to go back to Wrestle Kingdom and watch the hour-long match between him and Kenny Omega, the 3-fall title match. Okay,
I'm probably gonna message you on that later, because I'm not gonna remember that. But yeah, so it just wanted me. I was torn on this match. I didn't think Jay White was gonna keep it. I really thought that this might be the Hangman. He might get this, and then go to New Japan for a while. I thought Okada was going to win it back. I didn't really think Jay White was going to leave. Honestly, what I thought was going to happen, and it kind of happened in a way, and you'll get to your ending. I really thought Jay White and Adam Cole were going to turn on each other, which they kind of did. But I thought it was going to end up ruining it for one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was going to cause the belt to turn hands, and then I thought they could do more with that storyline, even though, yes, one's AEW and one's New Japan, but it would reignite the All Elite, Bullet Club, animosity. That's kind of what I was expecting going in.
I get that.
But great match.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Great stuff.
So, see, I've got a skewed view on this one, because we had a good old internet goof up during this. So it got real choppy. Yeah, so there were segments of it that we didn't get to see. We had to kind of catch up through people showing GIFs and things later, or short clips. So it was tough to really truly get invested in it. The one thing I will say that I thought was kind of strange is it was probably in the first quarter of the match. Page got a really good offensive flow going, and it made him look great. He got a pretty good hit on just about everybody. Made it look like, all right, he's on he's got the momentum. He's really going to take charge of the match. And I'm thinking, where the hell was that during any of his title defense matches? I'm like he looks better in this 4-way match, for a non-AEW title than he did at any point during either, when he won the title or when he was defending it. So I thought that was kind of weird. But good for him. I do like Adam Page, but that's a topic. Then, of course, the the ending was extra weird for us because of the choppiness. I know you want to talk about it, so I won't get too much into it. But we missed the drop kick from Okada. Mm-hmm. So the weird finish with the Jay White dropping his finisher, and then the quick pin on Cole, who for us was just flopped on the side of the ring for some reason, was what the hell kind of an ending was that? That seemed really bizarre.
Oh yeah.
And I'll let you get into that. So, but not having all of the pieces when we were watching it just made it really strange.
Oh, I guarantee that made it fucking weird, because I watched the whole match. I mean, granted, I watched it a kind of certain way, so every so often I'd have to refresh the feed, but I didn't really miss anything.
Sure. Yep.
That's about all I'll say about how I watched it.
Oh, it's fine. But yeah, no, we unfortunately, the way we were doing it, we we missed pieces because this pay-per-view, they didn't do the same way that they stream some of the others. When you do it through cable or whatever. So yeah, it was just, we found out what happened. Rachel was looking it up on Twitter, and we were able to put it together and be like, oh, okay, this does make sense. But
watch the AEW Instagram, and they'll play a whole fucking pay-per-view or Dynamite for you because they can't not spoil anything.
Yeah.
That's the curse of the AEW social media. They spoil fucking everything. So if you miss a show, you have to ignore any of their social media for like 2 days.
Yep.
Or something. But the like you guys were saying, the match, the lion's share of this match was just bar none great stuff. Everyone was getting off good offensive licks. Paige was looking just firing on all cylinders, and looking like the champ he was, though he's not anymore. Cole being Cole, working his snivelly ways, working angles, teaming up with Jay, and then them stabbing one another in the back towards the end. But yeah, Okada popping Cole with that drop kick, and mind you, Okada is the king of drop kicks. It was just an unfortunate thing because he knocked him loopy. He legit, Cole has a concussion.
Yep.
And so that means Cole's out for a while on concussion protocol. But yeah, Cole was concussed because if you remember right after that, I believe it is, that's when Okada picked Cole up to go for the Rainmaker, and Cole just dropped.
Yep.
And flops over to the side. And that's when you see Jay realizing that someone needs to make a quick finish because something's out of the ordinary. And so he speeds it up. They pretty much call the finish in the ring. He hits the Blade Runner on Okada and then rolls over, drags Cole in, and pins Cole. And you see, as they're bringing down the count, you see Cole realize what's happening and just kind of groggily almost try to kick out. And they mention it's look at him. He tried to kick out, but he just didn't have the power left in him to do it.
Yep.
And so it's just that was when as soon as I saw it, I was like, that was a fucked up finish because it looked like Cole kicked out. There was something odd. I guarantee you they had to do an on-the-fly finish. And then I read that Adam Cole suffered a concussion from that drop kick. I was like, God damn, this show and injuries again.
Yep. Yeah, and if you go back and watch the drop kick, you can see he hits and he tries to get back up and can't get back up on his own. He does a little fish flop. You can tell it's something is wrong.
Yeah. And was it just me, or did the ref fast count 3? It felt like 1, 2, 3. They knew something was going on. The ref knew it was wrong and was trying to quick count it.
Oh yeah, guaranteed they did a little bit of a fast count just to get everything squared away. 100%. It's just. Yeah, Cole got the short end because I think that match was going to go a little longer had that not happened.
Well, almost certainly. Yeah, because the pay-per-view itself ended a little, maybe 10, 15 minutes before midnight. And most of their pay-per-views run until midnight, if not a little bit over. This was probably one of the shorter ones they've done in a while. So, yeah, I would say you're right. There's probably more to the match plan that they just had to call an audible and cut it.
Yep. I mean, it happens every now and then, but that's the second match with an awkward finish of the night, and those were the two matches that, I rated this one pretty high because it was a good match, and had it not been for that awkward finish, it probably would have been almost match of the night, I'm sure. Because, we'll go ahead and transition into it. The final match of the night, I scored it 3 different ways. So here it is. 1, with the fact that Moxley decided to blade his forehead, I gave the match, if I remember right, either a 6 or a 6.5. I believe it was a 6.5. Had he not bladed it, I gave the match a 7.5. And then because they had all those fuckers run into the ring at the end, I dropped it back down to a 7. I was just too much shit went on. It just kind of fucking ruined everything for me. I was like, Mox just got blood for blood's sake. He didn't need it. It didn't make sense. It was just he wanted to look, like Mox. He likes the blood angle, makes things look more, hard nosed. But the way that match was playing out, it didn't fit.
So you know for a fact that it was bladed, because I kind of I saw it and I was like, I almost felt like it was an accident that had happened during the match.
Now, if you watched it real close, where he rolled out, he was laying next to the ring. And so usually what will happen, and if you rewatch any old Cody matches, he's so fucking obvious when he does it. Like, Cody literally, slid up under the fucking ring apron for 30 or 40 seconds one time to blade his forehead and then came back out. That's when he did it, because the camera cut away at that moment while he was, laying there and subtly, gigging his forehead. Because that's usually what happens. They'll fall out of the ring or somewhere where they can cut away real quick, or where they've got something stashed, or they can unwrap it from inside their wrist guard, or anywhere like that where they've got the little razor blade hidden. And then they'll just go click right around the hairline real quick and then toss it away. It's rare that you ever see the razor. The only time I've seen the razor was actually one of Christopher Daniels' last matches when they were still in Jacksonville. He gigged himself too hard and cut too deep, and that was that match where he was bleeding like crazy. And when he threw the razor away, it stayed in the ring. And so it got caught on camera, and they had to kick it out real fucking quick. But, Mox didn't need to fucking get color. It just didn't make sense. It was just blood for blood's sake. But, I mean, from a match standpoint, even though I rated it so low, that was just because, there were so many other matches better than it that night overall, and then the fact that it did not need the gimmick blood. Mm-hmm. Because those two can work a match without it, and you could see that while they were working. The blood played nothing in the story beyond just shock value. And it was a great match beyond that. Just weird stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I really, really thought that Tanahashi was going to win this one. I felt like AEW needed to give a belt to New Japan, and I'm surprised they didn't get one.
I agree.
And I thought this was the most logical place for this to happen, and then especially too after if we saw FTR get the tag team belts, I'm like, well, now New Japan definitely has to get an AEW belt. And I figured because it's interim, they could have had Tanahashi come over here and then, go until CM Punk comes back, and then you got the reunite belts. Or you could even have played a story where, okay, he wins it, he maybe defends it to a couple people, and then Moxley comes back and gets it, depending on how long CM Punk goes.
That too. It's just my main problem is I fucking don't like interim titles.
Yeah, it's weird.
They're pointless. He's injured. Fucking strip him of the belt. I mean, it sucks. He just won it. The only reason you're doing this angle is because he had just won it. We just had this happen with the interim titles with Cody and fucking Sammy. That was stupid too. To do it that close together. I'm just like, no, that's dumb. Strip him of the title. Have a tournament to figure out who's going to go against the number one contender. Put those two people up against each other. Call it a day. That would have made more sense. I didn't care for the interim title angle, but I do wish Tanahashi had won it, because it would have been the ultimate olive branch, and this would have been the part where it would have quelled any of those complaints New Japan may have had about it being a little AEW heavy on who got the rub. But I had no problem with the matches, but when everyone ran in, it just turned into a, hey, here's our Wednesday night preview. Don't forget, Wednesday night. I'm just like, come the fuck on. You didn't need this. We already knew. Shit.
Well,
yeah.
And on that point, what I thought was really strange about that, I totally agree with you. It was unnecessary, and it didn't really fit in with anything else that was going on.
Something they added to fill up time, too.
Could be.
Well,
But what I was going to say, what was funny is you could tell that it was totally just like an AEW machination, because Tanahashi was just like flopping around the middle of the ring by himself, like almost trying to make sure to not be in the way of all this other stupid shit going on around him. And like,
he laid down on the side for the longest time.
Yeah, and it stood out like really obviously to me, like, huh, like this doesn't make any sense. You know, he's just there, and there's this bedlam all around him while he's just in the fetal position. Like, it was bad. It was bad.
Yeah. Well, you know, let's be honest. Like, if you ordered Forbidden Door on pay-per-view, you're the person that's gonna watch Blood and Guts on Dynamite.
Yeah.
Let's not, you know, let's be like, I just ordered this pay-per-view for $50, and you know, I'm new to AEW. Oh, you got a show on Wednesday that's gonna have this Blood and Guts match? Come on.
Who would have thought? I had no idea you had a show on Wednesday.
I will definitely tune in now.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Thanks for this preview of something I know you've been building for 6 goddamn months. I mean,
the $50 preview for a free television show.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Fucking come on, man. That was like, that's why I said, that's why that little dust up at the end knocked points off again. I'm just like, this is dumb, man. Just, I would have been even more shitty and be like, no, with the dust up at the end, it's a fucking 5 now. But I couldn't do Tanahashi like that. He worked too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the awkward part. I mean, overall, one of the best pay-per-views of the year is just that little dust up at the end and a couple funky finishes were the only glaring issues it had. That's it. I mean, I love the fuck out of Forbidden Door, and I really hope they do another one. But, you know, overall, gentlemen, I say we could say Forbidden Door was a success, yes?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And we want more Forbidden Doors and international Forbidden Door, so that way we can get more eyes on New Japan for everybody.
Yeah, I see no downside to it.
Agreed.
I don't either. But I guess to keep things moving, I want to thank both of you showing up. It's been nice having people to talk to again. It's been so long, it feels like. I've been talking to myself the past few weeks, and I hate that. But, you know, it is what it is. So thanks for coming, Adam. I'm glad you finally got to make it on. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself.
Yes, thanks for having me. I'm glad we were able to finally make it work, and I enjoy, you know, talking wrestling, because there's not a lot of people around me that watch it, other than my online friends.
Yeah, I'm surprised, given that the Midwest is a fucking hotbed, especially how close to fucking Minnesota you guys are, and Minnesota's just wrestling central.
I just don't have a lot of friends that are into it, unfortunately.
Weird stuff. But, yeah, just be sure to tell all your friends. Maybe they'll enjoy it, and maybe they'll listen to me talk more. Yeah, I need more people to listen. But, you know, that, again, I appreciate everyone showing up and helping me not talk to myself. It's been great. Again, big up and thank you to Falcon for making the show sound good each and every week we do it. We'll try to keep coming back. I know it's summertime. It's always odd. I know we're still planning to do the watch-along episodes coming up pretty soon, so Grayson should be in for that. Probably Chapel will be back for one of those. If either one of you want to jump in on one and do the watch-along of something with us, just let me know. We'll get it planned out. But, yeah, with that, hope everyone had a good time, enjoyed the show. We'll catch you next time. Bye.